Hi, welcome to the Clark County Museum. My name is Amber Colbert and I'm the Clark County Museum Administrator. Things are always changing here at the Clark County Museum, and we're going through one of those changes right now. As you can see, the cases behind me have been emptied out of their artifacts, and we're working on bringing in a new exhibit. The new exhibit's called Visions of the Past, an artistic reflection on the 250 years of America and Nevada. And this is a collaborative project. We've worked with Clark County Public Art and local artists to actually make art inspired off of some of the artifacts from our collection. This exhibit will open on August 1st and be open to the public 7 days a week from 9 to 4:30 until October 24th. And in lieu of an opening reception, we've decided to do a closing reception. So on the 24th, you can come at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. to meet with some of the artists, get a tour from the curator of our exhibits, and see the whole exhibit with the artists that were inspired by those pieces. So join us then. But before we do that, let's look into what goes into building this exhibit. Let's go see what Leonard's working on in his workshop. Hi Leonard. So I was telling them a little bit about our new exhibit coming up, and I know you have some pieces in here. You want to tell us a little bit about what kind of pieces you chose and why you chose them?
Well, let's start off, Amber, by let's go ahead and lift one of the pieces up onto a frame that we've built for the artifacts. Now, one of the things that people may not realize is that for all of the exhibits we do, a lot of times we actually have to custom build holders to mount the artifacts on. And so that's the case with this artifact that we're getting ready to move here.
Okay, I'm ready when you are. Ooh, is it too narrow?
Yep, there we go. So this is actually the bell from the McGriff Ranch. This was one of the early ranches here in Las Vegas. Well, it was actually about 10 miles south of town. If people are familiar with Warm Springs Road, that's roughly where the location of this ranch was. McGriff was a former county commissioner. He moved out here in about 1913, and actually, even though it was called a ranch, it was more like an orchard. He actually had prize-winning peaches that he grew there, and he lived there until 1938. But this kind of exemplifies the artifacts that we've selected for this exhibit. We were trying to pick artifacts that span the whole history of southern Nevada, from the native period all the way up to the present. And so we picked about 30 different artifacts for the artists to use as inspiration for their unique pieces. So this piece here is typifying the ranching experience and farming experience here in Clark County, which a lot of people may not be familiar with because of the fact that the economy here has moved away from that over the past half century.
But it was definitely a pivotal part of the creation of our community. Without those ranches, we wouldn't really have succeeded, correct?
That is very true, and that's one of the reasons why we're focusing on that in the exhibit.
Awesome. I'm excited to see what an artist does for ranching.
I am too. We wait with bated breath to find out what's going to happen.
Yeah, and what's this piece here?
So another period that we're focusing on is World War II. That was very pivotal for this area. For instance, now Henderson and Boulder City are considered to be World War II victory cities, according to the National Park Service. And part of that is because of the military involvement here in southern Nevada during World War II. A lot of people know that Nellis started as the Las Vegas Army Air Force's base there. And this jacket comes from a man, his name was Harold Eugene Ring. He was originally from Ohio, but he was actually one of the tail gunners that trained at Las Vegas Army Airfield during World War II. He later served in the, as you can see here, the 35th Bomb Group, which was deployed as part of the 8th Air Force to England during World War II, and he flew over 35 missions over Nazi Germany and occupied Europe during World War II. So that represents our World War II piece.
Yeah, which is actually where we got to tie into even more artists, right?
Correct.
So we are using public art to get professional artists, but we wanted to include some of our youngest artists, so some of the youth. So we actually partnered with the City of Henderson and their Parks and Recreation Department and their public art, and we are going to be hosting an art workshop at one of their summer camps for 11 to 12-year-olds. They're going to create a collaborative art piece based off of the history of World War II in Henderson and off of some of these artifacts. What else do we have?
So I think the last item that we'll feature, because like I say, these are not all of the artifacts. There's going to be roughly about 30 pieces in the collection that will be featured in this new exhibit, but a lot of it will, we're primarily a history museum. We're not primarily an art museum. So that's one of the reasons why this is a great collaboration, because it gets to bring in a unique audience that may not have come to the museum before. But that said, we do have art pieces of a certain type here at the museum. Some of these that I'm going to feature here, these are satirical certificates that were issued to workers at the Nevada test site between the time that the site opened and then when the U.S. ended atomic testing in the early 90s. These actually originated, one of the earlier ones you can actually see is right here. This is for a test series that was run in 1952. But these actually originated not here, but at the original atomic tests that were done at Bikini Atoll after World War II. But then once they transferred testing here to Southern Nevada, they actually they took a much more satirical view of testing. And so you can see that they actually have, comic little sketches going on in each one of these certificates. These four here belong to a John Brouillard. He was an electronic engineer at Sandina Laboratories who worked here in Las Vegas for most of the second half of the 20th century.
Amazing, and it's actually amazing artwork from history as well.
That's very true.
Speaking of art, let's talk to the administrator of our public art department and see how she went about getting the artists and a little bit about their program. Hi, Mickey. How are you doing?
Good, good. Thanks for having me over at the museum. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming out. And again, we were talking about this art piece behind us. There is some art in our collection, but we don't have a lot, right?
100%.
So it's really important to partner with you, right? So tell us a little bit about your department and what you guys do, and then how you got involved in this partnership.
Definitely. So I am, as you said, in the public arts office. And what we do is we fund or commission public art pieces for Clark County. We do run 3 gallery spaces, but we also help fund a 4th one with the Wetlands Gallery. We do plenty of calls, so there's different opportunities all the time for artists to apply for our exhibits. And then we put on events like receptions and dedications to celebrate those public art pieces, and all of that is for free for anyone to attend.
Yeah, so I think it's a great partnership. We're both serving the community and trying to enrich the culture and the community. So this came about because we wanted to include some of those artists in our exhibit, right?
Yes, 100%.
And from there, we kind of talked about how can we involve them in the upcoming next year's celebration of the 250, right, for America. Yes. And so we decided to call out for artists, right? It wasn't a jury art, we wanted some professional local artists, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm. So in our office, we have a program software that people can upload their different applications. So we looked for an artist statement. So one of the key things for this project was because we were asking artists to create something based off of the artifacts, we needed to know, what was their initial idea. So they wrote about what they were going to do and propose. We actually had them write about a few different categories. The museum and public arts then met on those applications and kind of discussed what they were pitching, and ultimately decided on 6 artists to do a variety of different themes for this exhibit. It's very cool. They're all local artists, and they are doing a wide variety of different material choices. So you're going to see video installation, you're going to see oil paintings, acrylic painting, ceramics, even a piece that's highlighting our classic casinos, where that piece is going to be using gold leaf and ink on mylar paper. And then there is a very unique piece that is coming in. That is mixed media. So the artists discussed possibly using like corn husk and photo transfer to create a piece that reflects off of a glass pitcher that that was created. It was for Hoover Dam, right?
Yeah,
Do you
it was,
remember?
yes, Roosevelt came for the dedication of the Hoover Dam, and supposedly this was a pitcher that he drank from. Yeah.
Yeah. So super cool. I'm excited to see what these artists create. As we said before, the artwork is being made right now.
Yeah.
So we have not gotten to see what those things are, but over the next couple weeks, and by the time the show opens, we will be well versed in what they're providing.
Yeah.
The artists are being compensated to create this artwork. It is really important that people compensate artists. These are professional artists. These are their jobs. The artwork may or may not be for sale. That'll be up to the artists for that. And the artists, the artist is to create and then keep and do whatever they want to do with it. With my program, we do not take any funding from the artists. So if they sell a commission, that's between the person that wants to buy it and the artist.
Yeah, which is an amazing way to kind of produce more art in our community. And I got to see a little bit, peek, sneak into some of this. It's a really thought-provoking way to look at history and our cultures that kind of built our local community. Thank you again for partnering with us.
Yeah, definitely. And what I love about this exhibit, past us getting to partner, is it's highlighting within the history. We're also highlighting the future. These are working artists in our community, and I'm very interested to see how they create based off of these artifacts. It's going to be neat.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Thank you. Thank you again for joining me today and learning a little bit about how the museum runs, how we do some partnerships, and what our upcoming exhibit is going to include. Now, if you want to see that exhibit, again, it's opening on August 1st and will be open all the way through October 24th, when we will host a closing reception from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Now, if you want to come see it, our new low price at the museum is free admission for all, so that we can serve the Clark County residents and the visitors of Clark County residents. Come any day, 7 days a week, with the exception of Christmas Day, New Year's Day, and Thanksgiving Day. We hope to see you soon. Thank you.